but if any of you have a community or a school or any sort of like neighborhood or school or organization that you want to start a lending library for, let me know. I can set it up for you. So the Berkeley one's the largest because I had like a mailing list and people would I just emailed the list and it was like, hey, move your stuff to the community library app. But you can see that like, there's 100 some members who have logged in at some point. There's about 55 items. There's like a lightweight bulletin board book to share requests. Just because I wanted to keep it super simple, like not have this like very complicated request and like request flow. But you can see people have added a lot of things like bouldering crash pads, like folding tables, pretty much everything you would need for a party or like a lot of the travel stuff for kids, like kids' snow gear. Um, and yeah, I coded this with AI. I am an engineer by background, so but it was kind of an experiment in like how far can I go with just like vibe coding. So this is kind of the library. You can also see your items, so like what's lent out, um, like all of your stuff, where it is at any given point, and then if people request it, it'll send you an email. So to say, hey, like so and so has requested your item. If you accept, it'll send both of you an email with contact info so that you can take it offline because I didn't want to create like another platform that people have to check their messages on. So yeah, that's the community library. And then I was showing Deborah earlier today that I also last week with all the SNAP funding, I also created this other website where you can enter any zip codes. I'll enter my zip code. And if you're the first person to search in that zip code, it'll take a little bit longer. So it takes about 15 to 20 seconds. And it'll do a web search enabled like AI prompt. And it'll go and find about 15 to 20 places that have free food resources. And then it'll save them in the database. So the next time someone comes, like I just did, um, it loads pretty instantaneously. So um, yeah, these are all the things it found for Berkeley, where I am. And then these I added. So anyone can add a resource. And then the site will show you both the AI, discovered resources and then the ones that people have added. And then I've been reviewing them. It's not really, I've only shared it on like Facebook, and I think my friend added an item, but feel free to add more. I'll drop the link in the chat. But yeah, I think the things that are the AI has trouble finding are kind of more ad hoc things or like less like restaurants that have just announced that they're offering free meals, or there's a bunch of like Oakland has a bunch of community fridges that I want to add in. So like these two are the ones that I've added. But hopefully, because it does do like an AI search, anyone who comes here can find some resources, even if it's not a place where there's a lot of active like user submitted resources. And then it also shows you on a map so you can see what's close to you. So yeah, if any of you want to like chat about these projects or like other projects, I also want to build something for like people to pass on kids' old clothes, like outgrown stuff, which yeah, that may be next in my community software. Okay, I think that's it.
Jean, thank you so much. I have a million things I want to talk to you about. I will not be able to talk to you about those right now in front of everybody, but incredible. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'll hold my commentary. Glenn, would you please come next and share a little bit about what you're working on?
Oh, yeah. Gene, that is so crazy. I'm also in Oakland and I'm dying to talk more about all of the things I just saw. Here, let me share my screen. I'll do a little. I'm gonna talk about community calendars also in the East Bay. So I'm Glenn. So I've been in Oakland for about 10 years. Another thing to know about me is I'm married to a literature professor and really like books, and a lot of our friends really like books. And so maybe about 6 months ago, we started chatting about how so much of the coverage of Oakland and Oakland's culture comes from outside of the town. And so we started imagining what a place would look like that would um, have thinking from and for Oakland, right? Like a place that really cares for Oakland. And so we launched the Oakland Review of Books, which has been really fun. So we call it Orb. And one of the things that we've done at Orb that has worked really well is we've started publishing a weekly calendar. So this is Martina, who's a publisher at Heyday Books, which is a California-focused book publisher. And every week, Martina mostly, but a bunch of other folks on the team help out, curates a really selected list of literary, but much more than literary kind of events that are happening in town. And this has really picked up, and people really they care for that trusted voice. Like it's pretty voicey. It's like very like there'll be a lot of annotations and kind of jokes within them. But it takes Martina a huge amount of time to do this, right? And so she's caring for the community and the attention of the community, but it takes like 6 to 8 hours a week. And so in the RTP style of like, we can build what we need, we set up a session with a bunch of other folks in this community who have similar problems. So Josh and Deb, I know Josh was doing this at our Sunset, our Sunset today. Humphrey, who I think some of you guys might have seen present earlier, he presented his flyer, which is in North Oakland. He's got a kind of micro publication. And then we had Martina and Aaron and John and Aaron from Boulder who are doing similar things. And so we all met and we really focused just on what can we do to help Martina. And so we went through her process. And so she has a whole list of sites that she checks. She goes to those specific sites, like this venue's local economy. She finds things that might be interesting. She takes that Luma event. She'll pull out a bunch of information and put it into format. It's this very manual process. It takes a ton of time. I said, like, oh, this is something we can actually do really to help. And so we really focused in on some of the most painful pieces, which is the collection input of that data. And so uh, Aaron started to create just a Chrome extension, effectively just pulls when you're on a Luma or you're on a Facebook event, it just pulls that data right off and can download it into a Google Sheet or wherever you might have. And then there are other tools out there too. Like Josh has built a upload an event flyer. So if you find a flyer on the on a telephone pole, you can take a picture, load it up, it'll take the data and input it. And there are other folks who have done similar things with Instagram scrapers. But what we found in doing this and what we knew is that like actually this is a problem that not just we have at Orb, but lots of folks have. And so we started talking to other people with the same problem. So Coyote Media is a big new alt weekly that launched, Decentered Arts, I know Outer Sunset, and there's a bunch of other folks who are doing very similar things. So one of the questions we started to ask ourselves is how might we do this together, right? And so Josh has this idea of a neighborhood API, which I really love. And I think one of the things that the question we're asking is how do we collaborate together on something like a digital commons for events? How is that data managed? Who manages it? How do we all contribute to it so that we can all care for these events together? And so we're launching a bit of an MVP that we're just calling Oaklog for now, which is just a collaboration between Oakland Review of Books and Coyote and a bunch of these others that we start talking to them to have a shared database that we can use together, not just for one organization, but for many, an identity graph that we can build off of. So we're starting with App Proto on that side. I know Ted's in the room too from App Proto that we've been working a lot together. And then just start building workflow tools that just solve problems for those folks in the community. And so we have this play group that we've launched now as a new, we're on the Social Roots RTP calendar there. So main thing is we're focusing on is just how do we do local events. We're focused in the Bay Area, but more generally as people are solving similar problems, would love to hear more about what you're doing. And then the general idea of what we're thinking here is that this actually is a really interesting wedge in by working with local media organizations on a very acute problem to care for this together as we can move towards this open social infrastructure that allows us to keep that data, that attention, the exchange value all rooted in Oakland rather than extracted to other places by Facebook, Google, Yelp, so on. So if folks know other local organizations, especially in the Bay Area, that are managing eventless things or doing similar things, would love to talk to them and start understanding how they think about problems. And then, this is a big problem as to how do we manage the community data, all of the participants, the trust that's required of how do we manage this together and collaborate on it. And so, anybody who has other projects or thoughts on that would love to chat. And yeah, please do join the group, and we can find other ways to work together.
Oh my gosh, Glenn, amazing. I can't wait to see what community calendars look like in Oakland in 10 years because of what you're seeding. I like, cannot wait. It's incredible. Um, Thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Brian, could you please come on and share a little bit about what's going on in your neighborhood? What's up?
Yeah, so mine is one of those solving my own problems, very specific for just a few people. But I kind of said to Josh, and I was like, this is really isn't share worthy, but he said, yeah. So I'm like, all right. Hold on, let me share my screen. So this is a carpool app for my kids' school carpool. Let me find this here. So this is what we had, and I didn't do the carpool, and this is hard to look at. And luckily, like my maniac neighbor friend, she could figure this all out. So it was like, all right, you do it, that's fine. And one of the big problems, I haven't solved this yet, is people just forgetting to do pickups. And this is like in a neighbor thing. Like my best friends are on here, but also somebody that like really keeps forgetting to pick the kids up. And I'm not, I met her like once, because we just do carpool. So this does maybe bring people together. So this was last year. Then the beginning of this year, my wife did it the first month, and she almost broke her brain on it. I was like, I'll do it. So then I did it, and then ended up creating this in Bolt, which worked out pretty well. So well, the cool thing was I had everyone's constraints. And honestly, I thought this would be the easiest thing because I'm like, oh, math, this will be great. It was such a nightmare. This maybe a whole thing maybe took like 2 hours to make, but just getting everyone's different schedules, so knowing who they were, and it was pretty simple to make this. I just changed it so it collapsed. Uh, so you go here, here's your day, here's who's driving. You can change people, and if you change them, like a little dot shows up. I just added this in for notes, which no one's using because all of a sudden it's like Eloise has volleyball. Um, but it was cool. I downloaded from the school district just all of the days off and everything, so they're all in here. So half days, like when there's no school and everything. And then the funniest thing was, um, I had this like shift distribution. People have changed stuffs, but I said, I want to make this fair. And I would just kept putting the things in, and like I think I did in Claude, then I did in ChatGPT. I was like trying to have it do the math, and then be like, all right, here you go. This is perfectly fair and equitable. And it would be like, Jeff, 37 shifts. Rachel, 2 shifts. I was like, this is terrible. I was like, you're so right. I'm so sorry, Brian. Here it is. This is perfect. Everybody is fair. Then it's like, Shami's 36 shifts. So that took a while. And I understand why this would be hard to do manually. Um, yeah, but it worked out pretty well. And now I have to do the next one, which I'm slightly dreading, but I just did it from, first day of school up through, till end of the November. And now we no don't have to deal with this thing anymore. It's mobile responsive. And so next step is I would even be using like N8N to do I want like every day pretty much because now we like still do like roll call who's getting picked up and just kind of some subtle reminders to people like, hey, it's your day. So I would possibly add that in of like maybe every week everybody gets a WhatsApp notification so we use or an email that's like here's your schedule, so that we don't that we don't hate each other. So there you go, neighborly. Yeah, so that's it, quick and easy.
Oh my gosh, that is the mission statement, Brian. That's too good, honestly. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, yeah, it's really, really, really cool. Um, I need that in my life, so we can talk about that later. I bet you a bunch of folks will say similar things. Thank you so much. Neeti, could I ask you to come on next? When we chatted, I immediately went to your portfolio and like spent hours there actually, because there was so much and the depth was really incredible. So I don't know what you're going to share, but please, would you be open to sharing something with the group? Would
Um,
love to hear from you.
yeah, of course. I just chatted a bit with them about a video game that I'm currently working on. So based off of a personal experience with caregiving, I'm thinking about building a video game around the experience of it. Specifically trying to raise awareness and visibility for millennials and Gen Zers who are stepping into caregiving roles. Um, I have a spin-off video that I had made during like some of the initial phases of this when I was still working with my own experience. So this is like a retelling of my experience with my grandmother. But currently, I'm thinking since the number of caregivers are growing and they are getting younger, I am working with a couple of friends to kind of shift the focus of the video game more around conveying the personal, so I say personal experience, but it really goes through the bittersweetness, the frustrations, and the um, grief that one goes through. Um, in taking care of somebody else, as well as any personal, um, how it affects your personal life and your identity. Um, but yes, I overall I'm trying to I am like reaching out to this group because I'm looking to interview caregivers, um, either in the currently caregivers or having been caregivers. I'm hoping to use all of our experiences to shape the video game as a way of sharing it with like folks who don't really want to have this conversation, but maybe want to talk to their friends about it. So just an easier way to starting the conversation. Um, yeah.
Wow, amazing. I cannot wait. Well, thank you so much. And I'm thinking already about who to refer to you. Um, Everyone, I just have to double click on what Deborah said. I really recommend you watch that video. It's a really incredible video. Niti, just to give us a sense of the process, could you talk a little bit about the various methods you used to make that video as a sort of
Ah, okay.
trailer? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. So I was based in India before I moved to the US, and the shift was quite heartbreaking for me. I kind of um, took like a 3D model scan of my grandmother as a way to kind of preserve her in this moment, and trying to think about how I would essentially um, live without her. Um, and in that process, I started making this video game. I started it as a way of her gardening virtually because she was unable to garden at that point. The video game kind of really shifted focus simply because of her deterioration, but it kind of stayed strong in terms of the experiences I was seeing other people go through. But the video kind of is with this photogrammetry model and then me rebuilding it, um, rebuilding herself virtually. And then I think I kind of went through a lot of worry with regards to consent in like having her cognitive deterioration kind of made me realize consent at different phases during this really changes, as well as um, these ideas. So I was working with motion capture during my schooling in the US, and working with this virtual body that I made, and kind of just going through things. Um,
Thank you so much for sharing. And Mary Elizabeth, thanks for sharing also.
yeah.
Uh, wow, yeah. Niti, thank you so much. So much to learn and explore with you. Um, Likewise, Truman, I would love for you to share a bit about what you're dreaming about and building. I was, yeah, just really struck and moved by our conversation. So, um, Not that that's like a prereq for sharing or anything like that, but just wanted to say to note, I really appreciated our one-on-one time. So, Truman, are you open to sharing a bit with the group here?
Yeah, I would love to. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm Truman. I'm in Grand Rapids, Michigan. My partner and I, excuse me, moved to Grand Rapids like 4 years ago and don't have any family here, but did make a lot of really good friends. And then last year we had a tiny baby. So I've been thinking a lot about what it means to have community as like a nuclear family and in the context where, oops, there we go. Where, my mom only comes to visit for a week every other month, or something like that. And while I want to have us go move to the neighborhood where a bunch of our friends live, or maybe I want to go have us like buy and develop some property and do the old commune thing, those are pretty far off goals for us. And so I was trying to figure out like how I could help support our in-person community of really just like the 12 people that I wanted to invite first. And I don't know what this will turn into, later on. It might be kind of like a friends of a friends community and grow into the 20 to 100 space, or, maybe it'll stay 12 folks forever. But it's really just a place where we are experimenting with different concepts, some of which I've heard here today, like event calendars and lending libraries and stuff, which are also really cool to see those kind of fleshed out in a little bit more of a purpose-built way. This is a collection of tools for us that we've been working on. So it's called Community App right now because the first thing that we were doing is voting on the name of the actual website or application. This, by the way, is all test or fake data that I had a robot generate for me just because I didn't want to share stuff, without asking everybody in our community. And anyway, so this is all just like fake stuff. So the idea that we can have little referendums that are serious or that are not serious and do ranked choice voting among options that people propose. The first one was the URL of the website. That one resolved a couple of weeks ago. And then the next one is how do we actually think about inviting people, to this thing in the future? That was one of the first features. One of the other early features was just like a gratitude board. Trying to think about ways that this tool can like bring connection with people in ways that are a little bit less expected because I don't know, it's easy to get together for game night. It's hard to find something that draws people together kind of on a habitual basis because it's really easy for all that stuff to get lost. And so my hope is that by having a couple of those like really low effort, easy ways to engage, it just kind of keeps the concept of community top of mind with all the rest of the folks, that I want to hang out with. A couple of the other things like project management, event management. There is a notebook, which is kind of our take at a no comment Reddit kind of thing. A couple of the folks that we're friends with are purposefully kind of social media detoxed. And so if I want to share some pictures of our tiny baby, or whatever, I have to text them or I can post it, to a bunch of people, to all 12 people at once here. Or if there's something interesting from Instagram that I think somebody might benefit from, like a community event, whatever, I can kind of cross post, screenshot it over here. And then a similar lending library. So we're really just trying a bunch of stuff and seeing kind of what sticks here. Mostly gratitude is what has stuck the most because it's the easiest thing to participate in. You don't really have to do much beyond type a couple of words. But I'm still trying to work out the kind of critical mass of stuff that will keep this a little bit more in mind for folks, for the people who want, to have it be top of mind. Because like I've heard other people talk about, and as is a goal of mine, I don't want another place, where people have to go that's separate from their real life. I want a tool that supports the things that we want to do in our kind of like more in-person connection style of things. Yeah, so this is what we have been working on recently. Oh, I should mention, I am a software engineer. I've been doing that for a long time. I have no time to do side projects because we got a little tiny baby yelling at us. And so doing stuff with the help of Claude Code and other AI tools, like I've heard other folks say, has made a lot of this stuff just basically possible. I would not be able to do any of this stuff without that. So yeah, it's I know that there's some ethical concerns with the concepts, the basic concepts of using language models to do stuff, but they are really helpful for getting stuff done, and they are really approachable too if other folks are trying to figure out how to get started. Yeah.
Wow, babies as constraints driving innovation is such an interesting theme. Uh, Truman, thank you so much. It is like incredible to see your canvas that you have like out with your friends and loved ones, and just even to see how it's evolved since we chatted is really amazing. I'm so grateful to all of y'all. Deborah, I know we have sort of an open invite now, so I'll pass back to you, but that was intensely cool to see all of that like back to back. So thank you all so much.
Yeah, that was amazing. Um, I mean I've heard about all of your projects, but seeing them all like in one moment, it just became very clear to me that like relational tech is all about tech where it's very clear who you're building with and who you're building for. Like you know the people. It's for your friends, it's for yourself, it's for your carpool mates or whoever. And it's for your grandmother, it's for your colleagues. I think that's just very special. And I hope that it sounds like the building process for everyone has felt, it just feels more heartfelt because you know the people. And that's just so special. So, um, I know that there's other folks who are building relational tech. I'm looking at time. I think. Hmm. Yeah, we would love to hear other examples of relational tech. So if you have examples you would like to share at a future show and tell, we would welcome those in our emails. For now, we're thinking what I think y'all have just seen a whole lot of really cool presentations, and we want to be able to let you kind of talk about it a little bit. And in RTP fashion, we want to invite you into breakout rooms to have those conversations together because I'm sure there's a ton of stuff kind of floating around in your minds. Um, and in those breakouts, we just want to know, yeah, like what came up for you as you were watching those presentations. It's pretty simple. Start with a little bit of introductions, of course, get to know each other a little bit, and we'll look forward to hearing you when you return. We'll be asking you to do a little bit of a fun exercise. Um, okay. Sorry, folks are changing their. Do. Mm, Okay. All right. We'll see you in about 10 minutes. Mhm. Hey, Sean. Hey, Gatonga. Um, oh, okay, I see. Hey. Oh, hey, Gatonga, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing good. You?
I'm good. You're in Kenya right now.